Hey guys, Lytane here, thanks for checking out this video and for subscribing. It does mean a whole lot to me. So much so in fact that today I'm going to be having a look at a brand new game. But you would never know it's a brand new game because it's in the 8-bit style, you know, the NES days. So today I want to have a look at Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon and see if it's worth it. Bloodstained is a new IP that is going to come out one day in the future, unless you're watching this in the future and it has already come out, in which case, awesome! I say this because it is a Kickstarter game. That means it was funded by a crowd of people that put in whatever money they thought they should in order for this game to be made. Because the game made $5.5 million, which is absolutely crazy, they hit some things called stretch goals, meaning that if they get to a certain amount of money, they'll be able to implement more things in the game. One of which was a pixel, retro-style prequel to the game that they are still making. I honestly forgot about it until recently, where as a Kickstarter backer myself, I got the email code in the mail. So as of May 2018, this game has hit consoles. This is supposed to be a prequel to the main story, and I suppose in some ways it is, but it's going to be hard to explain because it's not actually a prequel, it's just some of the ideas that these guys had floating around. So let's just get into the actual story. Zangetsu has the Curse of the Moon put upon him by a demon. What this actually means is spoilers, but it has pissed Zangetsu off so much that he vows to kill all demons everywhere. The path of vengeance brings him close to a tower with a very powerful demon on top, the one that cursed him. It's going to be a struggle to get there as the lands are teeming with monsters and creatures. Can Zangetsu make it all the way to the castle and put a stop to the curse, or will he never see the sun again? Personally, I love the moon, so I don't see what his problem is. This is an 8-bit game which has heavy influences from the Castlevania series from the NES, particularly games 1 and 3. And after I finished playing through this game, it felt like a spiritual successor to those games. The controls of this game are insanely tight and responsive and very, very simple, but they are also bound by the ideas of this 8-bit old school game. When you jump, you have no mid-air control, so when you press that button, you are committed to this jumping animation. You will have to learn this jump arc very well because you'll be using it throughout the entire game. And if you misjudge it, you're gonna fall off platforms or jump into enemies or something like that. When Zangetsu attacks, he can only hit something that is right in front of him. You cannot aim this weapon at all. To offset this a little bit, you do pick up sub-weapons, which are like a little special weapon that you can use at the cost of some energy. Doing this will yield different results depending on what weapon is in your inventory at the time, including a diagonal whip or a little bit of water that you throw on the floor which burns for a little while, and anything that comes into contact with it will die. Honestly, these controls are fantastic. They are tight and there is no lag, and when you do an action, you know exactly what's going to happen because it will be the same thing every single time. Keeping with this old style, if you get hit by an enemy, you are knocked back, and anyone that has played any old video game knows that this single word, knockback, is one of the most evil words in gaming. I swear, getting knocked back is like a 90% death magnet. Is there a bottomless pit next to you? Then you'll be knocked into it. You're climbing up high? Then you'll fall far. There's an enemy nearby? Into them you go! But this is actually something that you can turn off in the game. There are two settings, one called Veteran, which has lives and that evil knockback, while Casual has unlimited lives and no knockback. This option alone makes the game so accessible. It is no lie, the old NES games are difficult. That's why they're called NES Tough. And because of that, it becomes a little bit not accessible for modern day gamers. There's no checkpoints, there's very few lives, there's a lot of death around you, and if you don't memorize a game like say Mega Man, then you will die very often. Because of this, it is a little bit discouraging for modern day gamers to go back and play something like that, especially because they're very, very difficult, and it takes you a lot of time and energy in order to get through it. But with this game, having that as a choice is wondrous. If you want to play the game as it was intended with this whole knockback and lives and all that kind of stuff, then you can. It's a little bit of an extra challenge. But if you do not like that little bit of extra challenge and you just want to get through this game, then you too have that option. It caters to both the veterans and the casual players, and that is fantastic. I like that this is an option because it gives people the choice of how difficult they want the game to be. Personally, I played the game on veteran because I would think less of myself if I did not try and put like everything into it, and there's nothing for it, just bragging rights, which I get to make a video saying that I did. With the difficulty as a whole, I actually found the game to be pretty fair, but honestly not too hard. New enemies are fairly easy to finish off with only 1 or 2 hits, with some of them taking a little bit more, and the bosses are harder, but after you learn their patterns, they honestly aren't too bad. These bosses are all over the spectrum in difficulty and scope, but they all look fantastic. The amount of detail in the sprites is absolutely amazing, and they have so much personality. Like, look at this dragon made out of frickin' teeth and mouths. Crazy! Or this electric ninja-like thing. Both are so fun to fight, and both are so unique. In order to get to these bosses, you'll be playing through a very short game of only 8 stages, but each stage has multiple branching paths in them, which does add to some replayability. But the first time I finished this game, it took me about 2.5 hours. But that is not all there is to the game. I've tried not to mention any spoilers to it because when I played through this game, I played it through completely blind, and I honestly think that is the better way to go. But just so you do know, there are multiple endings to the game depending on what you do throughout the stages, and these different endings unlock different modes afterwards, like a harder mode or even a boss rush mode, which helps extend the life of this game. And if you're going to go for all the achievements, then this game can take a little bit longer in order to get everything, which adds more replay value to it. So it's not just a 2.5 hour game and you're done. It will go on a little bit longer if you want it to. So guys, I'm going to go into some spoilers, so click ahead to this time if you don't want to know anything about it, or else you'll suffer the curse of the moon! That was bad, I'm sorry, just skip ahead or keep watching. So the biggest spoiler and thing I have not been wanting to talk about is that there are multiple characters in this game, 4 to be exact. Zangetsu is the main guy that you'd be playing as, but we also have Miriam in this game, who is the star of the one that they're currently making. Then we have Gebel, who is a vampire, and Alfred, an old man. Each one of them adds new sub-weapons and abilities to the game, such as a high jump or turning into a bat in order to fly around the level. They each have their own health as well, so you can switch between the characters on the fly to stay alive. If you lose all your health on one of these characters, they die and you are sent back a short way in the level, but you get to continue with the other characters who are still alive. You only get the characters that you've lost back when you fully die or you beat the boss. If you do lose all of your characters, you are sent back to a checkpoint that is further away than if you were just to lose one, so losing all your characters is a little bit of a hassle. Each character has their own strengths and weaknesses, like Alfred not being strong, but his magic is absolutely incredible. That fire shield is OP, oh my god, it gets you out of so much stuff. Beating the game with everyone and defeating that really cool looking and not too difficult final boss gets you a new mode without Zangetsu. Zangetsu sacrifices himself in order to save the other characters, so then they have to play through the entire game again without him. Doing this mode unlocks the secret 9th level, which is pretty cool, and you get to fight Zangetsu as a boss, and he is definitely the hardest boss of the game. What's more is that you don't even have to take on other party members when you play through this game. You could ignore them or you could kill them, and killing them gives Zangetsu a new ability depending on who you kill, such as a double jump, which is hands down the best move in the entire game. Killing everybody and finishing the game as Zangetsu unlocks the Nightmare mode, which gives Zangetsu all of the powers at the start of the game, but you can still recruit the other characters, so it's the best of both worlds. And he has this super secret charging attack as well, so you should definitely use it, and I ended up using him all of the time because he is so strong. The bosses are also harder on this mode and have new moves, which adds to the fun, and I believe this is the way the bosses should have been in the normal mode, because they were all a little bit too easy going through the first time. I beat this game so many times, you guys, it just isn't funny. In my opinion, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is worth it. It is so much fun. This 8-bit style game is really, really good. If you like old school games, you will definitely like this. If you like Castlevania, you will definitely like this. If you like platformers, you will definitely like this. It is so much charm. The sprites are absolutely fantastic. The controls are so tight and responsive. The fact that there is so much to do in this game after beating it the first time is also fun. I honestly wish this game was just a little bit longer so then I could play it more and more. The fact that there are multiple playthroughs with different endings that you can get extends the life of this game so far. And the fact that it is so accessible to both the veterans and the casual gamers makes it very, very fun. It is not terribly hard in my opinion, and I think the bosses are a little bit easy, especially after you learn their attacks. Like the third boss with the gold is absolutely boring, and like there are a few little problems like that, but honestly this game is very easy, very fun. Definitely worth your time and money, and I look forward to seeing the next game in this series. Because they've done such a good job with this one, I can only hope that they're going to do a great job with the next one. So I'll have to review that one when it comes out. So guys, tell me what you thought about Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you back it on Kickstarter and then get that nice surprise email saying, hey, there's a brand new game that we made while we're making the other game? Because I got that and I thought it was really cool. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!